Barbados hosts a major international court meeting next week. An appeal from the relatives of a missing woman for the public's help in locating their loved one. Renewed efforts to deal with the monkey population in Barbados, and in sports, the Bulls move one win away from the BABA title.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
I'm Pearson Bowen. History will be created when Barbados on Monday for the first time hosts the 166th regular session of the Inter-American Court of Human Rights. The public hearings, which will be held at the Sajikor K-Phil School of Business and Management, will end next Friday. Foreign Affairs Minister Carrie Simmons provided an overview of what can be expected.
This is a public hearing. It is going to be live streamed, and there will be 4 live stream sessions per day, 2 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. And Barbados presents oral pleadings in this matter on Tuesday, the 23rd of April, in the morning. Now, the reason why we are doing this, the governments of Colombia and the government of Chile have filed with the Inter-American Court of Human Rights requests for there to be an advisory opinion which turns on the central question of how does the climate crisis which we all are enduring intersect with our duty to protect and preserve human rights.
And Attorney General Dale Marshall has been speaking of the significance of the event.
We didn't choose to host this court session. The Inter-American Court of Human Rights invited Barbados to be the seat of this particular hearing. That speaks to their recognition, and hopefully the global recognition, that Barbados is seen as an opinion leader in some of these issues.
Meanwhile, public international lawyer Robert Volterra says the sittings will allow for the narrative on climate change to be shifted from political and diplomatic discussions to one that's just grounded on law.
This legal initiative has 2 tracks. One at the International Court of Justice, which is ongoing. There was a written submission to that court made a month ago, and there'll be another second round written submission in 2 months, and there'll be a hearing perhaps later this year or next year. And so the objective in both these court cases, before different courts that each has different subject matter jurisdiction, is an attempt to provide and establish what are the legal obligations of states in relation to climate change, and what are the consequences in law of any failure on the part of a state to fulfill its obligations.
Barbados has taken a bold step to recognize Palestine as a state. The announcement from Minister of Foreign Affairs Carrie Simmons brings the island in line with the majority of UN member states that have done so. The European Union as a whole does not recognize Palestine, nor do the United States and Canada. Government has faced calls in recent times from a number of local organizations to recognize Palestine. Simmons says Barbados believes the recognition of Palestine is critical to the 2-state solution to the Israeli-Palestinian question.
Barbados itself has never recognized the state of Palestine, and therefore there is an incongruity, an inconsistency, because how can we say we want a 2-state solution if we do not recognize Palestine as a state? So I have taken to Cabinet the necessary paper in order to allow us to formally recognize the, I think, error that we have made through the years, and to correct that. And now we have formally reached out to the state of Palestine to signal our intention to formally recognize them as a state. We had these discussions with Palestine in September of last year, prior to this eruption of the difficulties between Israel and Hamas.
The relatives of missing woman Sonia Paris are appealing to the public for help in locating their loved one. Paris, 58, of Edie Village, Christchurch, was reportedly last seen sometime after 10 on Wednesday night when she was leaving Chefette restaurant at Wildy, where she works. CBC News understands the car of the mother of 5 has been found at Jordan's St. George, partially burnt. 24-year-old Brittany Phillips, the last of Miss Paris's children, says family members who are struggling to cope at this time will appreciate the public's assistance with finding their loved one. Paris is about 5 feet tall with a dark complexion, medium build. She has her hair in locks reaching to her legs.
Currently, everybody ain't doing too good, but just if y'all can help, just call us and let us know. Just look out, just be on the lookout for she's very short. She has some long locks. Her manager said that she did come in for work on Wednesday. She worked her shift, and then that was the last that they seen of her.
Phillips has described her mother as a reserved individual who often keeps to herself. However, she occasionally attends Q in the community.
We're just trying to figure out, as they say, like, we're trying to retrace his steps and figure out where, if anybody had last seen her. I basically got the news yesterday afternoon. The rest got it later early in the morning. And what do I want to say? They got it early morning, but I got it later in the afternoon, and I just trying to deal with it as it comes.
The police have held 4 men in relation to a multi-million-dollar drug bust on April the 11th. This comes after officers in the narcotics unit investigated 3 Barbadians and a Venezuelan who were intercepted on a vessel about 18 nautical miles southwest of South Point, Barbados. A search of the vessel turned up several packages containing vegetable matter suspected to be cannabis, weighing 609.1 kilograms, and a number of packages containing a white substance suspected to be cocaine, weighing 68.15 kilograms. The drugs have a value of just under 8.3 million Barbados dollars. Well, the 4 men are Christopher Johnson, 41 years, of Bannister Land, Martindale Road, St. Michael, the captain of the vessel; Roland Coward, 42 years, of Salters Land, St. George; Zico Graham, 34 years, of Simmons Land, Rendezvous, Christchurch; and Wilmer Huerto, 33 years, a Venezuelan national. The 4 appeared before Magistrate Caroline Ward Sargent at District B Magistrates Court yesterday and have been remanded to Dodds Prison. They are scheduled to return to court on the 2nd of May. A warning tonight about fraudulent welfare checks being presented for payment at financial institutions, post offices, supermarkets and retail stores. The Welfare Department says the checks are dated April the 19th and May the 3rd and is advising members of the public and business owners in particular to be on alert. The issue was brought to the department's attention via social media. The matter has been referred to the Barbados Police Service for investigation. Well, great strides are being made in the fight against prostate cancer in Barbados. Word of this has come from President of the Barbados Cancer Society, Professor David Russin. He was addressing a media briefing to launch the Society's Prostate Walk or Run this year. Trevor Thorpe reports.
Professor Rosen told the gathering, made up of officials from CMIX Concrete and the Barbados Cancer Society, screening and awareness remain important factors that lead to the early detection of prostate cancer. He added that there are gains being made in the fight against this disease, which has a greater impact on males of African descent. He also said technology has given great hope to the medical profession.
Robotics gives you the ability to look in 3 dimension, so you can actually, when you're operating with a robot, you can actually see the nerves very, very clearly. So the incidence now of impotence has gone right down to less than 2%. Where it was about 15%, and incontinence has gone down from about 10% to 3 or 4%.
After being presented with a check from the sponsors for the Cancer Society's Prostate Walk and Run, he also spoke about what's new for this year's event.
We're adding a run for those very healthy people who want to run rather than walk. But other than that, I mean, we have discussed the idea of having a health fair. but we started the thought about that. We came from Philip, and as I mentioned earlier, the Rotary are doing such a thing, not for cancer but for all diseases, and I think that would be very beneficial, and perhaps add things for children where they could have things to jump in and other things that keep them busy while their parents are walking.
Group Chief Executive Officer of CIMIX Concrete, Philip Tempro, said they have plans for further improvement in the prostate fight.
We said we would just dedicate ourselves to prostate cancer and really own the space. So going forward, which Professor was alluding to, we would like to create not just a walk and a run, but a much bigger, widespread event that would include families more. Not that it doesn't include families, no, but it would include artists, it would include food, and create an afternoon for people to enjoy, spread the word, educate, and I think even test.
Deputy District Grandmaster for Barbados Scottish Constitution, Leighton Waterman, said the Grand Lodge's involvement with the Barbados Cancer Society is bearing fruit.
This year we're looking to revamp some of the work we're doing in terms of ministry, having people to talk about their experiences. Because one of the things that came out of me from last year when we had that walk was I realized that there are actually a lot of Freemasons up there who've had prostate cancer or who are going through prostate cancer. And we never knew until we actually had the opportunity last year for the walk. So again, for me, that's one of the good things which actually came out of that public event, that people are feeling more free to talk about their experiences. So I think that's something which we do need to grab upon and build upon as we move forward.
This year's Barbados Cancer Society Walk and Run will take place on May 26. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
At least 2 St. Joseph farmers have found innovative ways to deal with the monkey population without reducing their numbers. However, one monkey bounty hunter says the animals need to be culled in order to control the rapid growth of troops. Rachel Agard has the story.
Varying ways are emerging to deal with the mischievous monkeys which are ravishing crops in St. Joseph. One of them is the installation of a solar-powered electric fence erected at a farm in the Sugar Hill area. Anderson Toppin is the farm owner. His caretaker, Anderson Lord, tells CBC News the fence, which was installed about 5 years ago, has reaped dividends as the monkeys are now only seen on the perimeter of the property.
The solar fence, it gotta be a certain height, 6 to 7 feet. And then you gotta space it good enough that the monkeys don't actually jump through them. Because when we first started to do it, sometimes the monkeys would run, they would jump, and you wonder like how they would get inside. So we started to watch and see, and we realized they were jumping through the fence instead of over the fence. So we spaced them closer, and now we don't really got the problem with the monkeys.
Mr. Lord says the solar power fence is not a secret, and both him and Mr. Toppin are willing to share their knowledge with anyone interested. In Vaughan's Land, farmer Andrew Dixon is using the trapping method. He says he is looking for organizations to partner with him to stem the monkey colony on island. Over the last week, he caught 13 monkeys from the traps he set, but was hoping to set at least 50 traps at any given time to catch the primates, which are then passed on to the wildlife reserve.
My aim is not to get involved in the shooting. I wanted to catch them and to bring down the population, so you can see that you collect a certain amount of monkeys from a specific area.
But monkey bounty hunter Calvin Eiffel says there is a need to suppress the ever-growing monkey population, as many householders and farmers have reported the primates as nuisances. He says figures show hunters have been culling monkeys at a rate of 3,000 monkeys per year over the last 10 years. However, Mr. Eiffel says there is no natural predator for monkeys, and regardless of measures, the monkeys will never be brought under control.
The concept where everybody is in a panic that there are a bunch of hunters in Barbados running around wild and will kill every single monkey remaining, that is not going to happen. Because if you go around, like I said, and check, there are areas that the hunters will not go. There are areas that the hunters do not go out of respect for tourism also. So everything has to have a scale of balance, and the monkeys have to be kept in control.
As to how the island's monkey business will progress is still left to be seen. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
Rachel, thanks. Coming up, more complaints from Tobago about Barbadian fishermen. Hundreds of Barbadians will have the opportunity to apply for jobs with Emirates Airlines in the coming days. That's because Trinity Recruitment Services will be facilitating a cabin crew recruitment drive here in Barbados with scheduled open days from next Monday to May the 31st. The opportunity is also open to other residents from the Caribbean and South America. Founder and Director of Trinity Recruitment Services, Judine Canterbury, says they're thrilled to open the doors for people who are 21 years and older as the airline prepares to take on board 5,000 crew this year.
Play a crucial role in identifying and selecting candidates who dream of joining one of the world's top international airlines. We are proud to reveal that Emirates has allocated 100 cabin crew positions to Trinity Recruitment Services. This partnership marks a significant milestone for both our companies.
And Trinity Recruitment Services staff members have been offering some pointers and tips to prospective applicants.
It should be noted that to be shortlisted as a candidate, persons should at least be 21 years of age, be at least 160 centimeters in height, with a minimum arm reach of 212 centimeters, possess at least a high school education, have no visible tattoos when in the official cabin crew uniform, and lastly, be proficient in spoken English.
Preparations are advancing as Barbados prepares to co-host Exercise Tradewinds 2024. Tradewinds, which is scheduled for May the 4th to 16th and will be held under the theme Tailored by the Region for the Region, promoting a secure Caribbean 2024 and beyond. Dozens of countries and organizations comprising military and law enforcement personnel are expected to participate in various aspects of training. Acknowledging the changing world and the region playing host to Cricket World Cup 2024, Captain Shane Drakes of the Barbados Defence Force says their expectations are based on providing the necessary security. Well, Barbados previously hosted Exercise Tradewinds in 1992, 2003 and 2017.
We'll basically be having simulations for active shooters and hostage situations as well. We'll also have wreck control simulations, and we'll have a very large footprint for mass casualty management should there be a collapsed structure, so we can practice that response mechanism to be able to respond effectively should there be anything happening like that.
The BDF, meanwhile, is inviting interested individuals to register as volunteers for various role-play scenarios during Exercise Tradewinds. They may sign up online via bdfbarbados.com by clicking the Exercise Tradewinds 2024 volunteer button.
We'll be taking volunteers from primary schools, secondary schools, tertiary institutions. We've already contacted the Barbados Youth Advanced Corps, University of the West Indies, also Community College, and there's also in the normal Barbadian domain, anyone that wishes to volunteer. So it doesn't depend on age. It's once you want to volunteer, you go on the link, and we'll take anyone that's willing, especially you two.
Mr. Douglas says calls for help from the Trinidad and Tobago Coast Guard have proven to be futile. He says the issue requires urgent attention by officials. Well, scores of visitors are expected on the island next weekend as Barbados hosts two major entertainment events. One of them is the inaugural Barbados Reggae Weekend, to be held from April the 26th to 29th at the National Botanical Gardens. The event, which coincides with National Heroes Day, will showcase a star-studded lineup. Speaking at a site visit, Director Ryan Brathwaite noted people have been showing keen interest in attending the events associated with the Reggae Weekend.
I can tell you that Bajans are dialed in, they're locked on. Not only locals, but Bajans from all over the world have been requesting cabanas. We don't have many left, so if you want to get a cabana, now is the time to either pay online at ticketlinks.com or you can write in or call the number that we have on our social media to make sure that you are not left out. So we are very excited about this weekend. I can tell you that, even in my experience with previous shows, we were getting the same kind of interest, even though it's a first-time event in our inaugural year.
The weekend of entertainment will commence on the Friday night with Legends of Reggae. The showdown will follow on Saturday, and the family-oriented Reggae in the Gardens will be held on the Sunday. Mr. Brathwaite says the first 1,000 general patrons at each event will receive complimentary tickets with a chance to win $9,000. And he adds that the first 400 VIP guests will have the opportunity to win up to $40,000.
We have not left out the disabled community. We have ensured that all of our entrances are indeed accessible to persons who have disabilities, because we are an all-encompassing event, and we want to make sure that any Barbadians from all walks of life have the opportunity to come and enjoy this wholesome activity at the National Botanical Gardens.
Now, the other event being held next weekend is the Caribbean Music Festival at Farley Hill.
Preparations for one of the biggest entertainment shows for the year are well on track. Promoters and producers of the Caribbean Music Festival met with security and police this week to work out the logistics for entry and safety at the Farley Hill venue. Vivian Fagad and Simon Chu, who are with Zulu Entertainment, also met with health and fire services in order to prioritize the well-being of patrons. Fagan, in a statement, says they've also engaged the vendors to ensure they're comfortable with their spaces for the April 28th show. He adds that some changes have been made to the VIP to create an unforgettable experience for the event, which runs from 12 to 8. Wendy Burke, CBC News.
Before the end of tonight, members of the Barbados Union of Teachers will know the 3 new individuals who have been elected as floor members to serve on the executive. Voting for the posts got underway at 9 this morning online and in person at the union's Merry Hill headquarters. Polls closed at 6 this evening. General Secretary Herbert Gittins tells CBC News the posts were up for grabs as the others were unopposed.
Just to update that today we are just electing 3 floor members to add to the executive. All the top posts were unopposed. Initially, we had our president being opposed, but at the conference on Wednesday, the other candidate decided to withdraw.
Sports Night is brought to you by Power Inn. Pause is power. And by Dasani. Live first, Dasani after.
Time for Sports Night, as tonight we're joined by Anne-Marie Burke. Anne-Marie, good evening to you.
Good evening to you, Pearson. I begin with news of basketball. Burger King Clapham Bulls have taken a 2-1 lead over Cam Smart Assurance City United Celtics to move 1 win away from being crowned the 2024 basketball champs. Last night at the Wildy Jimmy, Game 3 of the Cooperators General Insurance BABA Premier League Best of 5 Final Series, the Bulls defeated the Celtics 60-57. CBC's Anmar Goodrich-Boyce reports.
With the series tied at 1, Game 3 was crucial. Clapham Bulls in orange with the early possession. Simeon Maynard loses it, and these 2 points were easy for Celtic. Captain Joel Hunt with the layup. Both teams started slowly, and after a few missed buckets, the Bulls were on the board thanks to Hakeem Marsh. That's a long 2. Celtics were ahead at the end of the first quarter, 18-11, and were leading 25-13 in the second. Ratnika Brewster drains a tray. Captain Tyrone King led the scoring by example for Celtics, throwing in 15 points with 8 of 5 shooting from three-point line, and this was good. The Bulls responded well to the pressure and weren't prepared to panic. Raheem Gibbons with a trademark floater, a chip off the old block, exquisite. His dad, Barry Rock, a former national player, would be proud of that one. The confidence was growing for the Bulls in a very close half. Maynard comes to the front of the class, fakes, and the baseline shot is incredible. The Bulls had a 4-point lead at halftime, compliments the brilliance of Maynard. Here he is from downtown. There goes that man. He had a game-high 16 points, with the Bulls leading 37-33 at halftime. The Celtics totally dominated in the third quarter, playing some fine defense, only allowing the Bulls to score 2 single points from the free throw line. Kemar Ben misses his first one, for Bikes the second. Celtics outscored the Bulls 11-2. Look at this move by Theo Greenwich. That's smooth. 2 more points for Celtics. The Celtics were taking the game to the Bulls. Nice movement ends with Gerard Allen from upstairs. Celtics with an 8-point lead with less than 8 minutes to go. But the Bulls were up for the challenge and clawed their way back. Marsh with the bucket. It's game on. As the game entered the closing stages, perhaps there was a lack in concentration by the Celtics, and this happened. Andrew fell through the back door. Is that the game? The Celtics were down by 3 with seconds on the clock. Can they send it to overtime? The answer is no, as the Bulls held on to take game 3, 60-57, and move 1 win away from clinching the title. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
The Business Report is brought to you with the kind compliments of the National Insurance and Social Security Service. More than a contribution, it's your lifeline.
In the Business Report, there's optimism. An international forum being held in Barbados will result in new film collaborations between the United Kingdom, Canada, Africa and the Caribbean. That's the hope of co-founder of the Barbados Independent Film Festival, Sir Trevor Carmichael. The Cross-Continental Forum is being hosted by the Caribbean Tales Media Group and Imagine Media International in association with the Faculty of Creative, Culture and Performing Arts at the University of the West Indies, Cave Hill. Now, the 5-day forum, which wraps up today, has brought together 26 high-level film producers.
This is obviously something that can only be called a first-of-its-kind gathering, representing a dynamic co-producing and business development forum encompassing industry leaders, producers and innovators from the United Kingdom, Canada, Africa and the Caribbean. Collaborating and exchanging ideas and opportunities, which will hopefully result, and we sincerely hope, in a plethora of new co-productions.
Sir Trevor was speaking ahead of a screening of the film Rice Boy Sleeps on the 10th anniversary of the National Canadian Film Day. High Commissioner of Canada to Barbados, Lillian Chatterjee, says Canada is home to a vast film industry, shaping its own distinct and diverse identity.
The winner of numerous awards, Rice Boy Sleeps reflects the complexities of Canadian identity and the immigrant experience. The High Commission of Canada's collaboration with BIF dates back to 2017. We are proud to support BIF's efforts to further diversify and grow Barbados's creative industries by promoting cultural exchange and fostering deeper connections with global filmmakers, producers, artists, and writers.
Barbados has been making some suggestions about how countries can attain the Sustainable Development Goals. Chief Research Officer in the Prime Minister's Office, Chanel Richards, says countries must have applicable and achievable solutions. She delivered the message on day 2 of the 7th meeting of the Forum of the Countries of Latin America and the Caribbean on Sustainable Development in Chile.
SIDS will always be small, and therefore we have to think beyond our geographical boundaries in order to be able to achieve the SDGs. So one of the priority areas which we need to have addressed is the access to the right quantity and quality of resources to finance the SDG gap. The global financing gap for LICs, LMICs, and the highly vulnerable middle-income countries is at least $1 trillion per year, and it could be up to $2 trillion per year. And so the Bridgetown Initiative was born out of the need to address these deficiencies and inequity in the global financial systems. The initiative has evolved, and as we prepare for its 3rd iteration, 3.0, our acts go beyond climate financing. We need to be able to fund the entire SDG agenda, health.
Back over to Anne-Marie Burke with more sports. Anne-Marie.
And I have football as promised. Tyra Waldron produced a 90th minute winner as UWI Blackbirds edged Britain's Hill 2-1 to remain at the top of the BFA Premier League, where the action continued last night at the Wildy Turf. Meantime, reigning champions Weymouth Wales thrashed Deacons 5-1. CBC's Almar Goodrich Boyce reports.
Weymouth Wills in green versus Deacons. We pick up the action in the 13th minute. Nadre Butcher on corner kick duty delivers to the back post, and it's a gift for Andre Applewitt. Wales are ahead. Wales doubled their advantage on the 30-minute mark. Clever ball over the top for the Carrington Village boys to queue up, and Jaheen Neblet finish it off nicely. That's 2-0. Second half, Deacons trying to half the deficit with this counter-attack. Tevin Savory Barker with a golden opportunity, but instead puts it wide. He knows it's a chance missed. Deacons were made to pay for it in the 68th minute. Elijah Downey chops onto his favourite left foot, and that's a cannon. Kevin also can only stop and stare. Fantastic from Wills. Savory Barker made it for his earlier missed chance on this play. Lovely link up with Captain Keon Atkins before he drills it into the onion bag. Deacons with 17 minutes to stage a famous comeback. It wasn't to be though, as Wales scored 2 more. First, Dante Jones with the faintest of touches punches the air. 4-1 the score. Wales ended as they started. Butcher to Applewitt, who rose to the occasion to conclude a brilliant brace as Wales trashed Deacons 5-1. Let's move to the second match. UWI Blackbirds in yellow up against Britain's Hill. 20 minutes in, Jerome Otterson surging forward, brought down in a pretty interesting position. Otterson then stepped up and delivered this, an absolute beauty, curling it around the wall. The Blackbirds up and flying. 6 minutes later, Britain's Hill found the equalizer. Captain Romel Bueno with a dazzling run into the box. The cross is deflected in, all level at the break. It stayed all square up until the 90th minute, but they say it's not over until the fat lady is singing. Who will be the hero? It's Tara Waldron. Can you believe it? The worldy turf erupts as the Blackbirds snatch a 2-1 win to stay undefeated at the Premier League summit ahead of Sunday's top-of-the-table clash with Wales. Anmar Goodrich Boyce, CBC Sports.
For the second year, Empire Building and Construction has thrown financial support behind the Barbados Soccer Academy. The presentation of a check and gear from the sponsor's representative, Jenna D. Haynes, was received recently by Academy Director Jack Bovell. Ms. Haynes says there's a need to support sports and its athletes.
Empowering youth in sports is not just about producing elite athletes. It's about nurturing future leaders, instilling them the values of integrity, empathy, and respect. It's about breaking down barriers, fostering inclusion, and promoting equality. It's about harnessing the potential of our youth to create a brighter, more equitable world for our generations to come. So let us reaffirm our commitment to empowering our youth in sports, not just for the trophies they may win or the records they may break, but for the values they embody, the lessons they learn, and the impact they will undoubtedly have on our world.
Barbados Soccer Academy is competing in the local football premiership, and Bovell is happy with the continued support as they look to go even further. Soccer Academy are currently 10th in the Premier League on 3 points. 26-year-old and long-standing member since age 8, Jerome Boyce is a product of the Academy's development program.
Coming up through the ranks of the Barbados Soccer Academy, I was able to not only progress throughout football, but also academics as well. Many days I can remember leaving Harrison College and sitting with Mr. Bovell, doing SAT classes before going to training. Being at the Soccer Academy has allowed me the opportunity to obtain a partial scholarship to Shaw University, where I was able to complete my Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science and then go on to get my Master of Information Science at North Carolina Central University. And these are things that I would not have been able to do if I was not a member of the Academy and if I was not only playing football but also under the tutelage of Mr. Bovell with SAT classes, assistance with other CSC and CAPE subjects as well.
And that's our news. Good night.